Right now, it just seems like Pokemon is in a really bad space because there's just a lot of negativity, around Pokemon right now, especially with the scalpers, the investors, all sorts of things. Just a lot of people are angry. And whenever I make these types of videos, obviously, I'm an evil investing channel, right? So I'm the worst type of person, I guess, to make these types of videos because I'm not really helping the situation, you could say. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about, I guess, the problem right now in Pokemon where just everything at release gets expensive. And I wanted to talk about this again because I think we all know PokeRev, right? I like the guy. I like watching his videos, but I wanted to talk about, I guess his take and how I see things. So he's sort of on the side of a lot of people, especially the collecting side, where he's basically saying that a big reason why this is happening right now in Pokemon is because of the investing channels out there pumping all this stuff up, making it seem like this is, he said, the next crypto or whatever, something like that. And that's why this is happening. And, this is a very common, take, I guess, out there, especially on the collecting side. People already pointing fingers. And that's, I guess, the problem in this whole space. And I know I sometimes do it too. It's a bad situation, but everybody in the space just points fingers at each other. It's the scalpers' faults. It's the people who buy from the scalpers' faults. It's like we all point fingers at each other, right? And I feel like it's not really a good thing to do, but it's what happens. But anyways, he's sort of on the side of a lot of the other collecting people, saying that's all the scalpers' faults and investing people's faults. And I've always said this. I agree. I agree to some extent. Yes, it is the scalpers, investors' fault. Yeah, to some extent, especially now. I can't lie. Look at this whole YouTube space with investing channels. It's gotten a lot bigger than it has a year ago, right? And I agree with that. Yeah, they're part of the problem. But I've said this so many times. It's so hard to really quantify, how many people that are buying, let's say, prismatic evolutions. How many of those people are actually scalpers, investors versus just collectors? Nobody can really say it's all because of scalpers because you don't have those numbers. You don't know how many people are actually buying because the set's popular. You don't know how many people are buying because they're just flipping. You don't know. And that's why I think pointing fingers and just getting mad at everybody isn't the best, thing to do. And I know I'm an evil person in this situation. I understand. But if you really think about it that way, like there's no point of pointing fingers because nobody knows. And a perfect example of this, and I like to give, is why did it happen to Surging Sparks, where prices went crazy? Why did it happen to Prismatic Evolutions? It's because these sets were very popular and very hyped up. And you take that into account with the TCG Pocket app, that came out literally the same time as all these sets. You take all those factors together, I think a lot of this is natural demand. And I know the Pokemon investing space is really popular right now, and it's the most popular it's ever been. And that's why it's easy to point fingers. But when you think about actually these factors of what is happening, why it's happening with these sets, why is it just these sets? Other sets, yeah, they're going up too. We see other sets that are now, 140, 150 a booster box, like Paradox Temporal. But those prices aren't insane comparing to, the popular ones. And I've talked about this all the time, people fail to realize that the reason why scalpers, now that we're using that word, right? The reason why they exist in markets is because of natural demand. And that's what we're seeing with these sets, Surging, Sparks, Prismatic. I guess now joining it together. That's just how it works. And I feel like a lot of people fail to realize that. So this whole pointing fingers thing and trying to just blame scalpers, investors, I don't think that's the best thing to do because no one has concrete evidence that that's happening, right? It's just easy to point fingers at the evil people like me, right? And I understand. Yes, we're not the true collectors. We're not the true people that just want to open. I understand that, and that's why, I'm the evil side. But this whole thing of just pointing fingers and getting mad at people for doing whatever, like guys, you can go back to my first video. I've been doing, and that wasn't even the first time I started investing. I've been doing this for now almost 4 years of investing, right? But now that, things are getting popular and things come out that are expensive, it's easy to blame me. It's all my fault. But I've been doing this since it wasn't popular. Like I was doing this in the, beginning of Scarlet Violet, the downturn of everything. Like I was doing this forever, like before this whole thing. But now that things are starting to ramp up and Pokemon got very popular because of these sets and, the TCG Pocket app, I look bad now. it's like it's really hard for me to, I don't know, I guess portray that because now I just look evil because everything's going up like crazy and you see an investing channel like mine, I'm evil. But guys, I've been doing this for a while. It just happens that I'm doing this in this sort of market. And people can say, Vapor Self, you should calm down now since the market is like this. You should let everybody else buy. Just you should maybe calm down on, the buying stuff. But here's the way I see it. If we could live in a perfect world, right, where nobody cared about money, about flipping, about investing into this stuff. If we could live in a perfect world where nobody was doing it, I wouldn't do it. But the way I see it is, okay, let's say I was being a good person, right? And I wasn't investing into Prismatic and I guess contributing to this problem, right? There's going to be a person right behind me buying those boxes, buying those cases, doing the exact same thing, reselling. And you guys got to understand, like, all the stuff I've bought is on the open market where everybody had a chance. And I even pre-ordered pretty late and I was still able to find stuff. And just to make the argument that I should just not buy anything because now that this is happening, I don't know, it's kind of nitpicky to me because like I said, I've been doing this. Yeah, I'm doing it, I'm going more, heavier into some of these stuff because it is popular. But I've been doing this whole concept of investing, scalping, whatever you want to call it, for a long time now. And just for me to stop just because generally this is seen to be bad now because these prices are going up, I don't know. It to me, it's like there's gonna be a person right next to me doing it, and if I don't do it, I mean, someone else on the internet is gonna buy it for whatever reason. So this whole argument and stuff, it's really hard because, like I said, investing channels right now, I know they're popular, and that's why it's easy to point fingers. But I mean, a lot of people, especially a lot of these YouTubers you're seeing, I know some of them are brand new and they just started doing this because of the hype. But some people have been doing it for kind of a while now. Like me, I've been doing this for a while, kind of a while, but now all of a sudden Pokemon's popular and these new sets are popular and I'm still doing my investing like I always have been doing. All of a sudden I look bad. And it's a really bad situation, and it's really hard. And that's why, I don't want to point fingers at anybody. I know I don't want to act like I'm the victim here, but I mean, I've said it so many times. I think a lot of this is just natural demand. And I feel like this whole pointing fingers thing to scalpers, investors is blown out of proportion. I know there are a lot of people doing it. I understand. I see it. I mean, we see it all the time. Like, I understand that. But I feel like people do fail to think about there actually is natural demand for this stuff and that they're part of the demand. So this whole situation is rough. Like, I don't think it's normal and this should be happening, but at the end of the day, the reason why this is happening is just because there's not enough supply. And yeah, you can blame the scalpers, everybody, all you want, but I mean, I feel like it's just so much demand, and I think people are just really failing to realize that. And, people like PokeRev, I like him, right? But when he makes these videos, and I know some people were actually criticizing him for making videos about prismatic evolutions, because if you go to his channel, you can see he made a few, videos back to back about prismatic evolutions, because obviously that's what's hyped up, and I mean, this is his job, right? And I guess people were kind of criticizing him for, like, somehow, I guess, hyping this thing up more than it should be, or just talking about the money side or whatever. Like, I don't know why people are hating on him. I don't understand, but people are hating on him because he was, I think, talking about the money side, or I guess somehow contributing to this whole problem by opening up prismatic evolutions earlier. I don't really know. But yeah, that was kind of weird. I saw people attacking him. I don't really think that's true. I mean, he's just opening up and making these videos, obviously, because it's what's hyped up. I mean, guys, it's his job. So, I mean, what can you really expect? But what I found interesting, and like I said, I understand. The investing side of Pokemon is super popular, and I understand that. But you guys got to realize that these people, PokeRev, and these other, Pokemon card opening channels, a lot of them, they have an image online, right? And, like I said, in this video, he kind of is talking about and kind of saying that in his opinion, a big part of the reason that this is happening is because of investors. Guys, you guys fail to realize that these people that seemingly seem to not be investors, right? They are. They've been, and I'm not even blaming them, but they've been doing the same thing I've been doing. They've been doing it way longer than me. Like, guys, if you go back to PokeRev's channel, a few years back, when the other boom, the 2021 boom, right? He literally made videos talking about investing, guys. live streams talking about investing and stuff. And obviously back then it wasn't as big as it is now. I understand. And he's been doing this before he started his YouTube channel. I mean, he's shown all of his stuff. If you go early in his channel, he talked a lot about value and all these things. So there's just so many people. And that's he doesn't really talk about the investing side anymore. But I mean, it's really hard to throw rocks while you're in a glass house. I guess there's that saying out there because he's an investor. Whether you want to believe it or not, guys, he's even had videos where he's shown his collection, his warehouse. I mean, not a warehouse, but storage unit of, cases of Pokemon. And you guys really don't think these people are investors too. And like I said, his community and his viewership is younger people. But there's videos you can go on his channel where he literally shows you he has storage units of literally like I don't know exactly what video it was, but he has cases and cases of booster boxes. And it's just I don't know, people just blaming and pointing fingers right now in this whole space. It's so toxic, and I've talked about this before, but just everything right now in Pokemon, it's really negative. And I know I'm not helping the situation. I totally understand. But it's like I'm not just gonna stop doing what I'm doing just because people now are mad at me because things are like going crazy out of the gate. Like I was doing this when it wasn't like this. So why am I now just gonna all of a sudden stop because people are getting mad at the investors and saying it's their fault? Like I've been doing this. It's just this past few months where the market has been like this. And I've told people this too. Things will calm down 100%. 100%. This is not like this forever. It will not be like this forever. And a lot of people that are getting mad right now, if you can be patient, this will blow over. Pokemon, I mean, we're already seeing what reprints gonna happen with surging. Like stuff's gonna happen, right? Reprints are gonna happen. Obviously, we don't know if it's really gonna cool down things or not because I mean, if you look at sets like 151, I mean, 151 is still very expensive and it's only like a little bit over a year old. But this whole situation, I think, it really shows something about the Pokemon community. It's very toxic. Even the collecting side. I see all these posts. I see what people say. In this whole space, it's really surprising to me how negative it can be. And like I said, I know I'm in the bad spot. I know I'm the investor. I know I'm the evil person in the space. But seriously, seeing like just all the negativity, I don't know. I know on this channel, I mean, I've been ridiculed so much and people don't like me. And I understand. I understand I get hate and I understand why I get hate. I totally understand. But the whole pointing fingers now, like everybody just blaming this certain person, this party, it's just, I don't like it. And I guess that's all I wanted to talk about today is just, so many people blaming the evil investor scalpers. They're part of the problem. But to say that they're the only reason why, I think is kind of, I don't know. I feel like that's not really true. Because there weren't scalpers for these other sets in the past. It's just these few sets surging, Prismatic, because there was natural demand for it. The scalpers didn't come in for Twilight. Scalpers didn't come in for Stellar Crown, Shrouded Fable. Like, that wasn't a thing. It's just now that there's actual demand that these scalpers, evil people, are seeing that, there's opportunities here and to make flips. And whether you want to believe that's bad or whatever, that's obviously an opinion. But other than that, people, I think, are really failing to realize the actual just demand and what's causing, these problems is because of the demand. And when I make videos like these, because I am an evil channel, I get a lot of viewers from the collecting side. I get a lot of dislikes. And I don't like making these videos because there's just so many negative comments and just arguing on this channel. And honestly, I used to kind of just not really care about it, but I don't like all this negativity. And I don't know, it just all kind of sucks. This whole situation is terrible. But I don't know when it's gonna, go away. And that's something that I talk about is like, it's gonna end, but I don't know when it's gonna end. Because we have all these sets coming up. Team Rocket, the black and white set. We have now Megas or something. Like, if this continuation of Pokemon popularity continues, like, I don't know how long this is gonna take to end. But if you are watching and you somehow came across my evil investing channel and you're actually just a collector, I understand it's easy to point fingers at people like me. But just understand that it's just happened to a couple of sets now. This wasn't always a thing. And I know it's investing channels and everything like mine are at its peak popularity. But I was doing this years ago when it wasn't a problem. But now that Pokemon's getting popular, it's blown out of proportion that now, like, I'm the huge problem and I'm not helping it by making my videos, which I'm not. But it's like, do I stop because people are ridiculing me and now people are blaming me. It's a really hard situation, guys, and hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from on this whole problem. But I just don't like the whole pointing fingers thing and people just jumping to conclusions about problems. And I feel like people are just, it's easy to point fingers and not think about like the real problem and actually look at what's happening, which I feel like a lot of people are doing, especially on the collecting side. They're just blaming all these people, and a lot of these collecting people, they're new to the hobby. I see it. Like people saying, yeah, I just got in and from the TCG Pocket app and see all these prices. It's crazy. It's all these scalpers' fault. Well, all these new people coming in, why do you think they're coming in? It's like there's just all this demand. And people are really failing to realize that. And it's just so easy to point fingers at people like me because we make money off of this stuff and we're not true collectors. So I think that's enough rambling. I know I've talked about, this problem, I guess, whatever, in this whole hobby now. And these types of videos, I'm telling you, they get a lot of dislikes because a lot of people don't like, people like me now because there is this problem. But a few months back, this wasn't an issue. But now it is, and now it's my fault, apparently. And I'm not even the biggest. Guys, there's so many other I'm a very small investing channel on YouTube now with Pokemon. There's so many way bigger people than me. I'm not saying to blame those people, but guys, I'm such a small fish in the ocean. Like, you guys don't even know. And even the amount I have invested, guys, even if I bought 20 cases of product of whatever, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that much. Like, I think people fail to realize how much is actually out there. I know now it seems like nothing's out there. But guys, if I even bought 20 cases of every single set, it's really not that much out of the market. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video and kind of can understand where I'm coming from on my take about this whole situation. I know if you're a collector, it's easy to just dislike the video and call me an evil person, which, I mean, you can call me what you want, but that's how I just see this whole thing. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.